Well, hello, listener. Listen, I've been drawing an animated version of myself because I want to do a cartoon. Anyway, so here, this little Jakey Bates is over here.
Hi, it's really great to see you, Jason.
Wait, little Jakey, are you drinking? It's pretty early.
No, this is water. Here, take a little sniffy.
Well, that's definitely not water, but anyway, sit down, or lay down rather for you. Probably lay down would be better. And here comes a fresh new episode of SmartLess.
SmartLess.
What's going on? Is that a movie cigarette?
What do you mean?
Yeah, it is. I can tell by the way the cherry's burning.
Right? It looks so fake.
Well, no, but that's a clove, or like the herbal ones that they give us on sets,
It's
right?
metal. Yeah.
Oh, really?
It's metal, man.
What is that? So then it's a vape or something?
Yeah.
Wait, but what are you
'cause
in
in Chicago, I guess you can't smoke. You can't smoke on stage with real
Because your
cigarettes.
character
Oh,
smokes in the play.
Like this. Does this look natural?
What are you blowing out of your mouth? Is that water vapor?
Confidence.
Oh God!
Somebody's found a new.
I like your attitude. I like your attitude with the smoke. Now you've got more attitude, Sean.
Okay, so let me ask you, Will.
Yeah.
It's because we had it. Scott and I were arguing last night. Somebody just told me to hold it here, but you hold it up here. Am I closer to the top of your? Right.
Yeah,
You
it
do
just
this.
depends. I
You
mean,
do
thanks
this.
for coming to the expert. This is one of those like talk to the expert sections. Yeah, you just gotta find that kind of like loose. You know what I mean?
like right in the middle, maybe.
But you don't need to do Will's face right now, or you got a little bit of smoke in the eye.
I just learned from all those old Marlboro billboards.
Things are complicated. Yeah.
Yeah, like man, how am I gonna get those steed down there?
Yeah, where's the real horses?
You know what I mean? Once I wrangle up this cattle, I'm gonna
God.
make my way back to the ranch. But in the meantime,
Well, good morning.
hi, good morning to everybody.
Did everybody sleep okay?
Yeah, but it's 11:30 where you are, right, Sean, or 10:30?
Yeah, but I got up at 2:30 and went back to bed at 7.
That's something we learned about you on the tour.
Yeah.
You have a halftime
I
show
do.
during your sleep.
Do you know that like a century ago or longer, people used to do that all the time? They'd sleep, they'd go to bed early, and then they'd wake up in the middle of the night, and they would kind of cruise around and talk to people and socialize in the middle of the night. You can read about it. It's very. I read some book about it.
Wait a second.
Where?
Tell me
What?
about that. I'm 53 years old, and this is the first time you're telling me that a century ago it was common practice to get up
Yeah.
in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
Everybody across the world, is that your position?
I don't know if everybody across the world, but I remember reading this book about Brooklyn, and people would get up, and it was not uncommon for people to get up at sort of midnight and then walk around and socialize for a couple of hours. And our idea of sleep
In Brooklyn, in just that borough.
Well, that's what the book was about, but that was something that was not uncommon at the time, according to the author.
I felt like I read this thing a long time ago. Like if you can't sleep, just get up. Like because to fight it is worse.
Hang on. Let me work this out. If you can.
You ever tried to punch yourself across the face and knock yourself back out again? You wake up kind of bruised up. but
Again, that suggests that you knocked yourself out in the first place to go to sleep.
well, I mean, this is a book that I'd read on Staten Island, and that 100 years ago, this is.
I mean, obviously, you know I'm calling bullshit because you've never read a book. So I
That's
just
true.
know that, yeah. So I know that that's not. Sean, what's going on with emergency services in Chicago? They seem very quiet right now because usually they're just.
Broomed
rampant.
everyone off the street last night. We had a record last night, listener, that
For
Sean
Tracy,
was
they're talking about. Yeah.
dodging the sirens last night.
Well, you
but
don't have to
you're-
explain what emergency services are to Tracy. I mean,
No.
surely she understands.
She was a cop. Remember, she was a cop.
Can I just
right.
say how great it was having Tracy on the tour when she came to Chicago and Madison?
Wasn't it?
And she was so much cooler than you led us to believe. You know, I just
I
want to
thought
say
you were
to
going to say
Tracy.
the new period.
Well,
What
she
about
was.
the way she came to Chicago just to see what it was gonna be like, so she could decide whether she wanted to be on stage in Madison? I love
and then
that.
we just got her on.
And I asked her afterwards, I'm like, how did you feel? She goes, oh, I was a nervous wreck. I go, did you like it? And she goes, I can't remember one thing about it.
I mean, by the way,
It's like
did
she goes, like, I blacked out.
did you like thousands of people cheering you wildly when you came on?
Some people don't like that.
I don't know anybody who doesn't like getting cheered. Hey, Jay, are we interrupting? Is it feed time?
Well, it's fucking breakfast time.
Oh, okay.
This is a real concession we're making for Sean and his fucking theater passion. God.
Oh, because we're on his theater schedule.
Yeah.
Oh, you guys, come on.
It's 8:30 in the morning. I don't.
5, 6, 7, 8.
It's not magic time. Magic time's after 10 a.m., something like that.
Well, it's not like those Saturdays for the Ozark schedule. Boy, sometimes early, sometimes late.
Sorry about that.
I know.
Now, I hope that our guest is on some sort of a Central or Eastern time, and
I
it's
think
not
our
as-
guest is, and our guest is also accustomed to changing schedule, especially performing live, because our guest is no stranger to performing live. In fact, they started out. They started out making commercials, et cetera, just like a lot of people making some memorable appearances.
Oh, I know who it is.
On some
I'm kidding.
some great shows. I remember a particular episode of The Littlest Hobo that I will never forget.
Are you freestyling right now, Will, or have you written anything
I am.
down?
I'm freestyling. This person then
incredible
went
the way
on
it does
to perform, take his comedy chops over to the UK, where his family originated from, and performed comedy and sketch and improv over there. Moved it back to Toronto. Moved his way right to the main stage on Second City, then to Chicago, then to improv, doing Second City there, Improv
This
Olympic.
person doesn't sound funny at all.
Then made a move to Saturday Night Live, where he absolutely blasted onto the scene, made a bunch of incredibly memorable movies over the last 20, 30 years. Some
Mike
of the
Myers.
best comedies of all time.
It's Mike Myers.
He's maybe
Did I get
second
it?
only. He's the only person I know who loves the Toronto Maple Leafs as much as I do. It's the incredible, the hilarious, the amazing Mike Myers.
Got it.
Mike Myers.
That's the first time I've ever gotten it.
Hello, how are you?
Hello.
I'm smoking my pen.
Hello there.
Hello. Oh, nice.
See, Mike is doing a good job. There
Did
you
you see
go.
that, Mike? Did you see this?
Yes, I did.
It looks real, right?
Mike, were you ever a smoker?
No, never.
No.
Yeah.
No, I smoked in a tree fort once, and
That's where I started.
no,
Truly.
with a Playboy that we found in the woods that was thick, and that's the last time I smoked.
Mike, I'm glad that you mentioned that you found some Playboys, because I remember I found in Toronto at a trash can at a bus station an old Penthouse magazine. And I'm like, maybe this is a Canadian thing, just people throwing out their dirty mags.
I think it is. It's the great purging that happens every March. You have to purge your porn.
Yeah. Wait, Mike, look at this photo. Look at this photo.
Hold on 1 second. Let me see. Oh wow, is that from Cat in the Hat?
That's me and you. No, that's before I got Will and Grace. I met you at Barney's.
At Barney's in New York.
And,
No.
yeah, in the parking lot.
Mike, were you selling jackets?
Isn't that crazy?
I was reasonably priced, high quality.
Mike, I'm so thrilled to be talking to you. I met you
I
only
know.
the once. I shook your hand out in front of some screening, and I thought I would meet you again sooner than now. Was hoping, was wishing, but happy. Better late than never. I'm such a big fan of yours. Really.
Well, thank you. Likewise.
This is
thank you.
Yeah, huge.
So, Mike, talk a little bit about, like, as a Canadian, of course, I always looked up to you as well, because you were like a guy from Toronto who went and did it like not just made great stuff, but made great thing after great thing. It was hilarious. And for me, it was so inspirational. I was like, see, you can get out of Toronto. You can do stuff, you know? What was that feeling like when you made it in the US? We know what that being Canadian experience is.
It's being Canadian is sitting at the border looking south and going, wow, it's a big party. Could I come too?
Wow.
Yeah.
And it was unbelievable. I still can't believe it. It's very, very gratifying. American show business is the best show business in the world. I know that sounds weird, but it's absolutely true.
Do you live there in the States now, or do you live in Toronto?
I live in New York.
Oh, you do? Oh, great.
Yeah.
You came in with such specificity with what you do and what your funny was, and seemed to make no apologies for it. You didn't kind of keep one hand behind your back and kind of play it safe at all. To all of our fortune, you just really kicked the door down and were really the characters that you played. I can't imagine anybody else ever playing them. And it took a lot of acting talent as well to be as funny as you were. It's just remarkable. Truly.
It is. I saw the recent Austin Powers commercial that's running now, and I'm like, I don't even know what the product is. I was like, oh my God. I was like, oh my God, Mike's back. Is that? I think everybody. It's a historical character now.
Oh, well, but then even like the small part you did in Tarantino's movie too. It's just it's never surprising to see you be incredible.
Bohemian Rhapsody as well. Like you're just So Mike, let me ask you. So you come out of Toronto. You go and you go to England. We talked a little bit about Mike and his alter ego Tommy Maitland. He came and did the Gong Show for 2 years. And we never
Another incredible character.
And Mike's only rule was we could never tell anybody that it was Mike. And people were like, who the fuck is this guy, Tommy Maitland? And he was so in it. It was
crazy.
It was amazing that the network allowed him to do it. And it was so...
Yes, to their credit.
Was there ever a big announcement about it? Did you guys ever take the victory lap that you deserve by making a big announcement finally and saying, look what we did?
I guess second season, Mike?
Yeah, second season we had to because there's a journalistic standards of, is this fake news? So they went along with it until the whole fake news.
Well, that's cool.
Not controversy, but it came to a head. Like, no journalist would go along with it. You know what I mean?
Right.
Which I understand, but you know, it was fun. I had so much fun doing that.
Oh, Mike, you were so game, and he had to get all this prosthetics done every day and be in it for hours, and then have so much energy as this sort of late middle-aged guy who's trying to drum up the energy to get the audience going. And my favorite was Mike talking to people backstage that he knew, like Fred Armisen coming and talking to Mike, and Mike was full Tommy Maitland with Fred. It was so surreal.
I mean, it was a different human being. It was crazy.
Was there any Richard Dawson baked into it?
There's a little Richard Dawson, that sort of mid-Atlantic, almost English accent for export. Like real English people don't actually talk that way. But I'm always obsessed with culture for export. Like, I think sometimes I talk like a Canadian for export.
Right.
Just like it's assumed of me or something.
So, Mike, do you walk around the house and work on new characters, or?
I do. I have 3 kids, so, you know.
Wow.
I did this one strange character for my kid, Spike, who's 10, and he's very socially conscious, you know, which this generation is going to be fine. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I was like, I've watched you. I saw you from across the street. And he goes, who are you? My son, going along with it. He goes, where do you live? I said, I live on this street. And he went, Dad, he's homeless. You think homelessness is funny? And I was like, no, I don't. I think it's a tragedy. I wasn't, it's an improv. And that's the first thing that came to my mind. And he goes,
That's
you know,
hilarious.
it's a real problem here in New York. I got lectured by my 10-year-old.
And then you should have given them the lecture about yes-anding.
Yes. And it wasn't well received.
So Mike, you've done all these amazing characters. By the way, I've always thought, I can't believe you should have won an Emmy for Tommy Maitland because it was so above and beyond.
Yeah, for
Thank
sure.
you.
Oh, man, it was just amazing.
I loved the Gong Show as a kid. So for me, it was like, are you kidding? It was tell me when and what to wear, you know? And
Yeah.
it just, I loved it was pre-ambition. That's what I love about, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just to make people laugh. No, my company's called No Money Fun Films because that is my favorite thing. And I love comedians that like to be funny, like Dana Carvey.
Yeah.
Where I was on tour with him. He's hilarious.
So hilarious.
And I did movies with him. He's hilarious just to be funny. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He does running gags, which is my favorite thing too, which is he would do this thing with the Beatles, just talking filthy. So it'd be, I remember one time. And then it was like, it was George and I, and there was these 3 blondes, and it was just so filthy. And so all he had to do was, I'd be on stage with him in these big crowds, and under the laugh, he'd go, I remember one time. And I'd be like, how do you do that? He is literally the most relaxed performer.
Yes, yeah.
And he's a conductor. When he does his stand-up, he's just remarkable. But I love running jokes, and I love that he is committed to them as well.
Yeah.
Mike, do you forgive my ignorance, but do you do stand-up? Did you start with stand-up?
Never did stand-up. I did it once, and I was so ill from it.
Yeah.
Before going out, I like threw up, and
Oh, really?
I don't know how people do that.
Did you have a bunch of stuff written out and prepared? Like, had you worked on like a set?
No, I thought I just go
Uh-oh.
up there and I'll spake, I'll tell my truth as I see it. And it was like, you suck, get off the stage, we hate you.
We hate your
Oh,
truth.
that sounds horrible.
Yes.
So do you keep in touch with Lorne or check in on SNL or anything like that just to see what's going on?
Yeah.
You do? Oh, that's great. I didn't know that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know how long how long his students, how long he keeps in touch with his kids.
I'm very grateful to Lorne. Gave me my break in TV and my break in movies, and he's a Canadian hero and continues to be.
Yeah.
And one of the literally, I quote Lorne maybe 10 times a day. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just in little things too. It's like, well, being in a car, the audience doesn't mind it. That's where you should put all of your exposition. It's just like little things like that. And when you have a special guest, you should have to give them an entrance round of applause, build that in.
Yeah, he's got those great. I remember when Amy started on Update and he said, it's going to be different because now the audience hears your name.
Yes.
And I was like, oh, yeah. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
The other one was just when you're in the VIP room, there's a VIP room. That ends up being you, Mick Jagger, and the hot water pipes.
Oh my God, that sounds so good.
And then I was in Cannes for Shrek, and the guy said, Monsieur, you don't want to be in this room. There's a better room. And I went, and it was me, Mick Jagger, and the hot water pipes in Cannes. I was like, he's right. He's right with that even,
And we will be right back.
Hey, SmartLess listeners. Now I got your attention. We get support from ZipRecruiter. According to the latest research, 90% of employers plan to make enhancing the employee experience a top priority in 2022. After all, a happy workplace is key to attracting and keeping great employees. And if they're great, you want to keep them. Let me put it this way. There are so many ways that employers can make their employees happier. You make them feel more valued. Ask them questions about stuff, maybe about their life. How was your workout this morning? Leg days suck, right? Allow for more flexibility in work schedules. Hey, Carrie, can I take next Wednesday off or whatever? And if you need to add more employees to your team, there's ZipRecruiter. Their matching technology helps you find the right people for your roles fast. And right now you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/SmartLess. ZipRecruiter uses its powerful technology to find and match the right candidates up with your job. And then it proactively presents these candidates to you. You can easily review these recommended candidates and invite your top choices to apply for your job, which encourages them to apply faster. ZipRecruiter's technology is so effective that 4 out of 5 employers who post get a quality candidate within the first day. Find the right employees for your workplace with ZipRecruiter. Try it for free at this exclusive web address, ZipRecruiter.com/SmartLess. That's ZipRecruiter.com/SmartLess. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. SmartLess is brought to you by Helix. You already know how much we love our Helix mattresses. We've talked about it ad nauseum. So much so, we got more mattresses earlier this year. And I'm telling you what, every time I get a new Helix mattress, I sleep that much better. This is me fully rested and feeling great. And I don't know if I could be more rested, but I'd like to try. And the best way to do that is to get another Helix mattress. I'm just going to start stacking them, I think. What's great about Helix Sleep is their quiz. It takes just 2 minutes to complete, and it matches your body type and sleep preferences to the perfect mattress for you. And I took the quiz, and Sean took the quiz, and Jason took the quiz. And he had a little tough time with it, but we helped him with it, and we were able to match and by the way, it's really easy to take, but Jason is... Well, Jason, Helix has been recommended by multiple leading chiropractors and doctors of sleep medicine as a go-to solution for improving sleep. So if you're looking for a mattress, just go to helixsleep.com/SmartLess, take the quiz, order the mattress that you're matched to, and the mattress comes right to your door, shipped for free. You don't ever need to go to a mattress store again, which is a bonus for you. It feels like you should be paying them. You know what I mean? You shouldn't be, but you get the implication there. Helix even offers exclusive discounts for students, teachers, military, and first responders. Plus, they have a 10-year warranty, and you get to try it out for 100 nights, risk-free. Helix is offering up to $200 off all mattress orders and 2 free pillows for our listener at helixsleep.com/smartless. That's helixsleep.com/smartless. SmartLess gets support from the California Association of Realtors. Look, Jason would tell you, but he's not here. He was unavail. But buying and selling a home in California can be one of the most exciting moments of your life, but it's also complicated and can be filled with a roller coaster ride's worth of ups and downs. Trust me. But it's a whole lot easier when you've got a trusted advisor by your side who knows California real estate better than anyone else. I'm talking about a California realtor. Real estate apps are great, but when things get emotional, you need the professional human touch of a California realtor. Ask Jason, but you would, but he's not around. And things are going to get emotional. I tell you, when I've had some home buying experiences. I remember I was buying a new home, and it was just like, am I going to get it and am I not going to get it? And going through that process with the actual California realtor made a huge difference, because it meant that I could rely on that person to talk me through the process, because sometimes it gets a little bit dicey. You're about to make one of the most important decisions of your life. The expertise of a trained and licensed professional is crucial. A California realtor doesn't just show you houses. No, they negotiate on your behalf, guide you through the entire process, and provide invaluable advice. Jason's been saying this for a long time. Buying a home in California can feel daunting, but with a California realtor, it doesn't have to be. So if you're on the house hunt or about to take that step, don't go at it alone. Find a California realtor that's right for you at championsofhome.com. That's championsofhome.com.
And now back to the show.
There's such a specific work routine and rhythm and schedule with SNL that obviously you flourished in. How have you, as you've gotten older, even more talented, more specific with what you do, and capable of even so many other things, how have you noticed your change in what you like to do as far as rhythm goes and work routine? And do you miss the rush of that? Or do you prefer?
I do.
Yeah.
I miss the rush. Again, another Lorneism. It's not the best show that goes on at 11:30. It's the best show that's ready to go on at 11:30.
That's hilarious.
It offers you a tremendous freedom from choice. You know what I mean?
Right.
And you have to make specific choices immediately, which I did that on Second City as well. And in the London, I think the greatest training I had in a weird way was the London cabaret circuit, which is, if they loved you, they loved you. Mm-hmm. You had to be fresh. That's the other thing, too. You had to do comedy where comedy hadn't existed before, or you would get either booed off the stage or often hummed off the stage. Or one time I was complimented off the stage, which is, you're doing a good job, Mike. How do you even know my name?
What does that mean, doing comedy in a space that hasn't been done before?
It's the topics of British comedy are very, very wide. Things that are, like, there was a time when it was always mother-in-law jokes, you know what I'm saying? And that was a very narrow subject matter to do comedy. In England, they require that you, for example, there was a comedy troupe called The Entire Population of China, this double act, these two guys. And they did a sitcom in Chaucerian English. So it had all the rhythm with a laugh track.
Oh my God.
So with the hooter, with the rooter, this is a room above a pub in Camden, and people are like, yes, new, different.
Gotcha.
Wow.
Okay.
And Mike, what drew you to the enjoyment of wanting to develop characters? Like when you were younger, was it a person? Was it a thing where you're like, oh, I can do these voices? I didn't even know I could do voices.
Well, I think, growing up in Canada, it is, you're an observer nation. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's interesting.
And Canada's not really a melting pot. It's more of a salad bowl. When you come over, it's just a different thing. And so cultures and how people talk is something, and I think SCTV said to me that it was possible to come from Toronto and do what I do.
Yeah.
Gilda Radner played my mom in a TV commercial when I was 9.
Wow.
And I watched her on Saturday Night Live, and I turned to my family and said, that's what I'm going to do I'm going to do that. I'm going to be on that show.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think of all of the original cast, I think I relate more to Gilda Radner than Belushi or Aykroyd, who I worship Dan Aykroyd, but I think I was more like Gilda Radner, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Peter Sellers was a huge influence. My dad, you know, he's English, him. You know, I had 2 Liverpool parents, and they were like,
Wow.
my dad's biggest compliment was, oh, I wish he was English. You know,
You know, Mike, it's funny. I remember talking to, our mutual friend, Rob Cohen, great
Yes.
writer, funny guy.
Yeah.
Amazing. And he actually made this documentary, as you know, about what it means to be, why Canadians are funny, or why there are seemingly so many Canadian comedic actors and comedians, et cetera. And I always said that it felt like, and as a Canadian obviously reference, that it's almost like we were born up against the glass.
Yeah.
Right? Like it's like at the rink and you're just looking in. We're not in the game yet. We're just kind of there. And we have the luxury of we don't necessarily have any skin in the game. We can just observe and comment on it. Does that ring true to you?
100%. You know, Martin Short used to say, you know, when Americans are watching TV, they're watching TV. But when Canadians are watching TV, we're watching American TV.
Yeah.
There is just a slight separation.
That's so funny.
And it's a weird, like, it's a party happening upstairs that you wish you were invited to. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you also have that kind of like, those people are crazy upstairs. You know, get a load of them.
Well, Mike, I don't know if you remember. I had this experience when I moved to New York many moons ago, and I would come back to Toronto, and people would say, "Oh, fuck, Willie, you're American now, eh? You're American. You're down there. You're American." Like as if I had done something wrong, you know.
Well,
and I'm like, "Well, I'm just."
It's so unfair and not true, by the way. You know, because there's nobody more Canadian than a Canadian who no longer lives in Canada. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You get super Canadian when you live down here.
It's that guy. What's there's the Devil's Dictionary, that guy, Englishman, who wrote it, and he had the description of a kilt was a traditional Scottish garb worn by Americans in Scotland and Scots in America.
Yes,
And,
that's right.
And that,
exactly.
It's a similar thing. So you go to Chicago, but how many of those characters that you ended up, iconic characters that you did on SNL, any of them, had you been working on them on Second City? Were they characters that had developed? Yeah.
Most of the characters I had done at Second City and I had done on Canadian TV. I had done Dieter on a show called It's Only Rock and Roll, and I'd done Wayne. I had a thing called Wayne's Power Minute on It's Only Rock and Roll on CBC on Canadian TV.
No way.
Power minute.
Wayne's Power Minute in the Shaggin' Wagon. And
That was my handle in high school, was Power Minute.
Shaggin' wagon.
Power Minute?
Yeah. I don't think it was a compliment. I'm still trying to figure out what it was.
No, it's 18 seconds of pleasure and a lifetime of responsibility, right?
So you do, by the way, I mean, Wayne's World, again, that was such a, when you first started doing that sketch on SNL, it just blew me away. Just hilarious. We would quote it still to this day, of course. How many iconic things came out of it? Not schwing, things that are still part of the vernacular. Do you ever hear that stuff just sort of like out of your, in your peripheral and just go like, holy shit, I came up with that.
Every character, though. Like, what about Behave?
Oh, yeah. I wasn't even getting to that yet. But
exactly. There's so much.
It's very gratifying. It is, it's unbelievable. My dad sold encyclopedias and my mom worked in the office of a factory that made aerosol can products. So it's not like I'm to the manor born and go, well, see, the way my dad used to handle this.
Right.
So it's all kind of, it's just been unbelievable. I can't believe it.
Did your parents fully understand and grasp what a home run your career is and has been?
Well, strangely enough, my father had gotten Alzheimer's by the time I'd become successful, which is one of those ironies. The person who would have most delighted in seeing it was, it's a very tough disease, Alzheimer's, because it's
Sure.
people's personality leave their bodies, and so you can't quite have a funeral. And I think it was once described as the long goodbye.
Yeah, for sure.
So your dad never got to see that. Your mom did get to enjoy some of your success.
She did and she didn't. She's like, "Oh, I saw Wayne's World. Yeah, what'd you think? Oh, that Dana Carvey's very good, isn't he? Oh, he's just got it. He's just slick, But Americans are, aren't they? They're very slick.
And who's the other guy in the hat?
Yes, I don't care for him much.
Yeah, Mike. I think that's like English, like my mom, Canadian, but also of far back, sort of English and Scottish and Irish descent, and similar thing, which is anything SmartLess. Listen, my friends really love SmartLess.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, thanks. What did you think? Well, they liked it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then you find out that she's insufferable to others.
Yes.
And it's like,
Yes.
my son made it.
Yeah. You know what I loved, Mike? I loved Supermensch. I loved that
thank you
doc
so
about
much.
Shep. Yeah, I loved it so much. And
It was a documentary for Tracy. It was a documentary that Mike directed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On the legendary manager, Shep Gordon, Alice Cooper's manager.
yeah, so cool. I knew nothing about him actually, and it was so fascinating. Was that a pleasurable experience for you? Would you do it again?
I would love to do it again. It was a very pleasurable experience. Shep Gordon is one of the nicest human beings in the world. And I thought, what do you give the man who has everything? And I thought, I'll give him the microphone.
Yeah.
It's just, I just wanted to, we're talking about Lorne. Shep Gordon is very much like Lorne. His art form can only be seen from space, you know what I mean? Which is, he builds careers in that way. It's almost like a Christo of building different people's careers. And that's his milieu, his art form.
Would you direct another documentary, or is there something
I
you're
would.
interested? Yeah.
Yeah, I've always loved documentaries. I thought I was going to be a documentary filmmaker.
Oh, wow.
I got hired for Second City and accepted to York University Film on the same day.
Oh wow.
Oh, wow.
And I thought, I'll do Second City for a while and then go over and study film. And then
Is
Here
that
we are.
something? Do you have the time to pursue that at all right now? What fills most of your days? What are you enjoying pursuing?
well, I have a 6-part comedy series coming out in May called The Pentaverate on Netflix.
Oh cool.
And I've been doing that for the last 2 years. Of course, we got hit with COVID right in the middle of it, but it's done now. It's coming out in May. And the premise of it is what if 5 people actually did run the world, but what if they were nice?
Oh, wow.
So I wanted to get to the Pentaverate. So this is a show where you play, I think, 6 or 7 characters,
7 characters, yeah.
which is insane. That's
You're a
pretty
masochist.
tall order. Yeah, you're a masochist.
Well, looking back, I do see the masochistic nature of that choice. I didn't at the time, of course, but
Did you write this as well, or produce it,
I
or
did.
direct it?
I didn't direct it. We have a great director named Tim Kirkby, who's this British genius who directed it.
Yeah.
Was able to keep all the 7 characters and all the stories all together. And I wanted to do something very cinematic. That's the other thing too.
Yeah.
So it's closer to, it's kind of if the Da Vinci Code and The Prisoner had a baby. And it kind of deals with conspiracy theory.
Yeah.
And basically the need we have right now to have the people trust the experts and the experts serve the people. That's kind of where we're at. And, I just, the insanity of what's going on with January 6th and what's going on, this is how I thought I could respond to it. So
That's
it's,
great.
it's a comment on misinformation and disinformation.
That's great.
Yeah, is that important to you? I mean, obviously it is. I mean, to be able to speak up and to, there's always that sort of thing of like, hey, use your platform to do the right thing. And you've chosen to do it in a way that which is to make, to kind of send it up and do it through comedy. Has that always been something that you've wanted to do?
Yes.
Yeah.
Definitely. I think that the highest aspiration for me would be something like Dr. Strangelove. That would be the highest aspiration. To me, that is the near perfect comedy, which is kind of like how I feel like Flintstone Vitamins. kids are eating Barney and Dino. They don't need to know it's good for them. You know what I mean? I think that's kind of the best delivery system of ridicule,
Right.
Yeah.
Adam McKay's doing a good job of that too, I think, with the satires that he's making about these important issues.
And very, very entertaining, which I think is the key,
Yeah, for sure.
Mike, talk a little bit about, so you made 3 Austin Powers movies. You I think you took a little bit of a break right before you did those movies from acting for like 2 years. You hadn't done anything. And then all of a sudden, Austin Powers comes on the scene. And it absolutely it was a smash success. And what was that experience like? Did you know that it was going to have the impact it did?
No, I didn't. I thought you'd have to have grown up in my house to get the movie, to be honest.
Yeah.
It was every movie that I loved, the James Bond, the Matt Helm movies, all the spy spoofs. It's actually a spoof of a spy spoof, really, truthfully, more than it's a James Bond parody.
Yeah.
And I wanted to make my own, the talk about spaghetti westerns. I wanted to make my own knockoff James Bond thing, and with the assumption that it had always existed in British culture, and now they're making the movie version of it.
Mm-hmm.
And in hindsight, it's quite recherche. It's a very specific offering. I didn't think it was, and I'm as surprised as anybody that it impacted mainstream culture at all. I wanted to make almost an indie comedy.
Right.
And I didn't know that necessarily it would have any currency beyond people that knew that idiom,
Mm-hmm.
Well, beyond it being undeniably funny, I think if people took it like I did, your commitment, as I said earlier, to your character, to your tone of comedy is so infectious that you have no choice but to enjoy it because you are enjoying it so much. You have so much commitment to it. And it's that helpful tether, that leash that you're providing to the audience. Like, I've jumped in with 2 feet. Come on in with me.
Yeah, I think a big hallmark of all your characters is how committed you have been, and as Jason pointed out, it takes a great deal of acting, and you never break. Even though you have fun with all those characters, you are so thoroughly that person in that moment. And there is that kind of other side. I'm not asking you to call anybody out, but there is that kind of comedy which is much more a comment on characters. Which to me feels like anytime people talk about deconstructing, I'm like, yeah, well, go ahead and construct first, and then feel free to deconstruct. But it's so easy to do that, and you don't ever do that. You don't comment on it. You just are it. Is that something that you ever think about?
I do. I paint a little bit, and I found I can't paint anybody that I don't have positive affections for. You know what I mean? So I have paintings of, I painted Shep in like 15 minutes, and it's like one of my better paintings, and you know what I mean? I can't judge the people I'm doing, you know what I mean? I have to find where, I had lunch with Mike Nichols. It was one of the greatest lunches of my life. Lauren set it up because he knew I loved Mike Nichols so much. And I said, what's your number one direction? Like, what do you find yourself going to? Because I was like, this is my chance to get some wisdom. He said, that's a good question. He said, I usually say to the actor, look at the character and go, I am like that when.
Right.
So even if you're a murderer, you can do, I am like that when I kill somebody's good evening with a bad mood, or you know what I mean? So that's how they connect, is to not judge, but to find the
part of you that is closest to that character, so that you're not acting. You're amplifying a part of yourself almost.
And he also said, just remember, it's not actors talking, it's actors thinking. You're having thoughts that then have to come out in words. Thoughts lead to emotions. It was an unbelievable masterclass of a lunch that I had with him.
Yeah.
We'll be right back.
You rolling?
Oh, yeah, we're good.
Oh, I didn't know that. Sorry.
Yeah.
It's funny. We were already rolling. Rob was rolling, and Rob and Bennett were looking at me, and I was about to say we were brought to you in part by Wondery, and then it turns out we are rolling, so we are brought to you in part by Wondery. That's a fresh take. I tell you what, Vuori is a fresh perspective on performance apparel. Perfect if you are sick and tired of traditional old workout gear. Everything is designed to work out in, but doesn't look or feel like it. And every piece is so comfortable, you want to wear it all the time. These pieces are designed to perform while still looking great. They'll take you from the gym to the coffee shop to whatever other errands you have that day. Vuori is committed to a happier, healthy planet. They reduce and offset 100% of their plastic footprint from 2019 and beyond and use better, sustainable materials. I got the Vuori, I got the core short, and I've got the long kind of stretchy pant things. And I wish I knew the name. And they're probably mad because this is an ad for them. But I can tell you what, if you're looking on their website and you're like, oh, those look like this sort of long stretchy pant things, buy them. Buy them in every color because they're very comfortable. Because I do wear them in the morning. I wear them to drive the kids to school, and I wear them at the gym. And I wash them. Obviously, I'm not an animal. Anyway, Vuori is an investment in your happiness. For our listeners, they're offering 20% off your first purchase. Get yourself some of the most comfortable and versatile clothing on the planet at vuori.com/smartless. That's VUORI.com/smartless. Not only will you receive 20% off your first purchase, you'll also get free shipping on any U.S. orders over $75 and free returns. Go to vuori.com/smartless and discover the versatility of Vuori clothing. We're brought to you in part by Solo Stove. And I'm going deep and I'm going low on this because I want you to hear me. Person to person. I like getting outside. I like getting in the backyard. And I like having the kids around. And my family is growing daily. So we like to do activities together. And there's nothing quite like the feeling of gathering around a warm fire on a cool evening. And a smokeless fire pit from Solo Stove makes your outdoor moments even more memorable and less smoky. Because instead of having to constantly dodge the campfire fumes and all that stuff that comes with it, coughing, and the kids are like, it's in my eyes, you can sit back, relax, and actually enjoy the fire. And right now, you can get a great deal on a Solo Stove fire pit. I remember, and I'm going back a minute here, I remember sometime last year, I unboxed the Solo Stove. Can you imagine how dumb I feel anytime I have to put anything together? I feel like I'm the worst person at that. Solo Stove, super easy. I actually did it myself, which is, if you've been listening to the podcast, you're amazed at that, considering how dumb I am. And it was so quick and easy. And before I knew it, we had the Solo Stove going in the backyard, and the kids were freaking out. We were having a great time, and it's s'mores, and it's standing around, and it's amazing. And it upgraded our backyard, and you could upgrade your backyard with a Solo Stove fire pit, because it's the perfect catalyst for getting outside and spending more time with family and friends. Each one is made with premium grade 304 stainless steel and a 360-degree airflow system that maximizes efficiency while minimizing smoke, which is amazing. Again, no smoke in kids' eyes. That's a bonus. It's easy to light with a few bits of starter, and your fire is blazing in minutes. I'm telling you what, do you want to build some lasting memories? Well, why don't you build them around a Solo Stove fire pit? Shop now and get up to 30% off fire pits all month long, and use promo code SmartLess at checkout to get an extra $10 off, plus a lifetime warranty and free 30-day returns. Just go to solostove.com, and remember, you get $10 off when you use promo code SmartLess. SmartLess gets support from Keeps. Want to stay ahead of hair loss? Do it with Keeps. 2 out of 3 men will experience some form of hair loss by 3 o'clock today. Oh, sorry, I'm misreading. By the time they're 35, but still scary. And there are only 2 FDA-approved medications that can prevent hair loss. And guess what? Keeps offers both. Keeps offers a simple, stress-free way to keep your hair. You'll get convenient virtual doctor consultations and medications delivered straight to your door every 3 months. You don't have to leave your home. So, good news, Bateman. Get 24/7 care and support. Keeps has a network of expert medical advisors, prescribers, and care specialists to support you in making your hair goals a reality. Treatments start at just $10 per month. That's $10 per month, and Keeps offers generic versions of the 2 FDA-approved medications to prevent hair loss. And treatment plans are affordable, typically half the cost of pharmacy prices. Keeps has everything your hair needs, delivered straight to your door with discreet packaging and proven results. Remember, prevention is key. Treatments can take 4 to 6 months to see results, so act fast. When it comes to your hair, save more, spend less. If you're ready to take action and prevent hair loss, go to keeps.com/smartless to receive your first month of treatment for free. That's keeps.com/smartless to get your first month free. keeps.com/smartless.
All right, back to the show.
Mike, were there ever any characters you wanted to see realized on the big screen that you never got a chance to, or is still not coming?
I think Dieter.
Yeah, Dieter.
I think I could still do Dieter. I wanted to do that. I wanted to do, the other thing is everything I do has a musical connection.
Yeah.
So for me, Dieter would be, in essence, it would be my Kraftwerk movie. Wayne's World was my heavy metal movie. Austin Powers was my Burt Bacharach movie.
Right.
So that's a big influence on what I do as well.
What is that musical background? Did you play a bunch of music when you were a kid?
No, but it was big in my house. You know what I mean? I was raised by, 2 culture vultures. And then I was raised by 2 brothers we just inhaled culture. We just loved stuff. We loved movies. And Canada's a great place to grow up watching movies, especially Toronto. We had all these fantastic second-run theaters, and they were all connected. So you get one pass, and you could go to the Bloor Cinema, you could go out to the beaches, all these different places. And I saw the best movies projected with real popcorn, with real butter for 15 years, And I went 3 times a week.
What about your kids? Do they share the same kind of passion?
100%.
What about for showbiz?
My wife, Kelly, is like, I hope not. And I'm like, it's going to be what it's going to be. And she ultimately is that way too. But, they are, as I am, made of, 2% water and 99% ham. So I think it's likely going to happen.
Do they get what you've done? Do they give it up? Do they understand your talent and your accomplishments?
They do, but they also can torture me with it, which is fantastic. My youngest is Paulina. She's very, very smart. And I'll be like, okay, you got to go to bed now. She goes, you're boring, right? What? You're boring. And then she reached back. I wrote a book about Canada. And she said, and this book is boring. Threw it on the ground. And I'm like, well, there are parts of it that might be a bit of a polemic, but on the whole, and then I'm like, she's 5. What am I doing?
Mike, if I'm lucky enough to get stopped and somebody say something nice, they either bring up Will and Grace or Cat in the Hat. And that was one of the highlights of my career, was working with you on that movie. It was, I watched you work and construct scenes. I'll never forget that time. And you called me in, and was it Dana or somebody else? And you asked us to come up with fixes for jokes. And I was like, Mike Myers is asking me to come up with jokes. It was really, really impressive to see how hard you work and to what lengths you'll go to make something great. It's something I stole, and I still think about.
Oh, I appreciate that. Yeah, I think it comes from I never thought it would happen, and I don't want to blow it. You know what I mean? And it's sort of and also too, just I grew up very working class. You have to work. I never thought anyone was going to hire me for anything. You know what I mean? That's why I wrote so much of Saturday Night Live, because I didn't think anybody would necessarily write for me. Why would they?
Well, talk about that, because I think that it's a very relatable thing for anybody in any industry at any point in life. When you want something really badly and you see that it's actually approaching, and then actually maybe you're even in it, and the success is there. The everybody comes to the point of like, should I ask for help here to either solidify it or make it even better? Or should I hold on to it and make sure
Mm-hmm.
nobody screws it up for me? Like there's always that kind of push-pull about whether you have the courage to ask for and incorporate help, or whether you're just going to kind of say, no, I got here, without anybody else, and I need to stay by myself and at the exclusion of all these other talented people around me. I think that's something that everybody always goes through in any industry at any point in life. How did you go through that? It sounds like you take on other voices.
I think, so when you guys have this show, I'm so envious of your camaraderie, which I love, because I started with an improv troupe, and I'm like, the camaraderie, I would like to have a group of people that I have, but it's always just ended up that I'm writing my own thing and doing my own thing, but I would love to be part of a larger ensemble, which is ultimately what my training was, you know what I mean? But it just hadn't worked out that way. I think it is just kind of, I feel so honored to have been on Saturday Night Live. I can't believe it. Second City, can't believe it. To make comedies that I thought I better honor it by working hard,
Right.
But you do collaborate in a leadership role, though. But you do collaborate on.
Yeah.
You move from sort of collaboration to collaboration. Yeah.
Well, I think it's best available idea. Like if you have a Dana Carvey and he has a funny idea, you'd be an asshole not to go, what was that, Dana? Hold on.
Exactly.
Shh. What? Dana, what? You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's what you did on Cat in the Hat. That's what we sat down on the floor, you had all the scenes out, and you were talking about each one. You're like, just let's everybody chime in and figure this out to make the best, the best thing we can make. It was really cool.
It has to be best available idea, and it doesn't matter who says it. Like it has to be, stone soup. We all have to put our ingredients into the pot.
That's right.
I'm assuming your Netflix thing was such a specific project that you wrote, as you said, and then you bring in, and then you didn't direct it. You bring in a director, and that position obviously has a ton of influence over what the audience eventually sees. Bringing it off the paper and onto a visual medium, was that collaboration exciting and fulfilling for you?
Thrilling.
Yeah.
Yeah, thrilling, because he thinks in pictures, Tim Kirkby, and he's kind of he's an eccentric English guy. I think he's a genius. And the world of the Pentaverate is very, very cinematic. We had a fantastic production designer, Simon Rogers. And the production design is as much an offering. It's, like I said, it's like the original Prisoner and the Da Vinci Code had a baby, and it's, I got to play very, very different characters, which is awesome. I got to play a very, very old English guy, kind of like the very old English person like that. And I got to play a Canadian newscaster, which is the sort of like, here we are at the Sportsman Show. There's plenty of things to do, whether you like skeet shooting or fly fishing. Over there's a 1,000-pound bull made entirely out of butter. The local news guy.
CHCH TV 11.
Yeah, CHCH, Hamilton, Ontario.
That
Well,
is
the
so
Tiger
funny.
Cats have had a fantastic season this year. That same sing-song.
Whenever I get too Canadian, Jason will often he'll turn to me and go, "Oh, is that right, eh?"
Yeah.
Like when my Canadian comes out, and he'll
Oh
do
God!
that.
But then when you get into it,
Fuck there, bud. Oh, fuck, we got a real,
Buddy of mine. Everything's buddy of mine.
buddy of mine was
I
telling me.
paid for those Aerosmith tickets in snow tires.
My dad, any day that it's sunny, he's from Winnipeg, so any day that it's kind of over, he'll say above, he'll go, it was 100 above today. I'm like, well, obviously it wasn't 100 below, so you can just say 100. And because everything's above or below zero, right? But
100
anything
above.
that's above zero, he'll go, gosh, it's a honey of a day, eh, Willie? He's so happy for good weather.
Wait, Mike, what's amazing to me, like that you can just manipulate your voice to do so many different people. Do you watch a commercial or a movie or a person at the store and go, I gotta work on that? That's really interesting.
I do. So with Goldmember, there was a show on HBO called Real Sex.
Oh, yeah.
And it was this guy who had a sex barn, right? And it's a 3/4 replica of the red light district of Amsterdam. And over there's the Chinese fuck swing. And over there is the room that we keep the towels for the splooge. And over there's where we... And it's like... So that's where Goldmember came from.
That's amazing.
Episode 22 of Real Sex.
By the way, one of the great movie titles, Goldmember.
What was the name of the film that you did where you played the Scottish guy with the size of his head?
Oh, So I Married an Axe Murderer.
Oh, fuck, that was funny. God damn it.
Which is where the Pentaverate comes from.
How so?
Because the secret organization that he talked about is called the Pentaverate. And so I've made the Pentaverate, the secret organization that he talked about.
Oh, that's cool.
When you go to Scotland or when you encounter Scottish people, what's their reaction? Are you like a Scottish hero?
Yes, to be honest with you, it's been lovely. I was there with Higgins for New Year's Eve because New Year's Eve is big in Edinburgh, Hoogmany, and it's giant. And so a security guy was attached to us, and he went, "Mike, I've got an idea for a second." And I thought, well, we actually did a second one. A second, so I married an axe murderer. Yeah, okay. And he goes, "Okay, the son's all grown up now." And he acted it out. And it was a really great idea, to be honest.
Yeah.
It had a beginning, middle, and end. There's a character arc.
I love, by the way, I love that you said, yeah, it was actually a pretty good idea.
It was a good idea.
Wait, how did you have two parents from Scotland? Liverpool.
No, from Liverpool.
They're from Liverpool, but in Canada, every soccer coach and many cops are from Scotland.
Is that right?
So it's just that you're sort of issued a Scottish accent if you're in Canadian comedy.
Yeah.
When you were a kid, did you have a little bit of an accent living in it, and then get rid of it, or?
No, but I had weird words, just weird expressions. Like my brother was driving a car, learning to drive, and my dad said, "All right, let the dog see the rabbit." And my brother's like, "What?" "Let the bloody dog see the bloody rabbit." Right? Which meant pull out to make a left so people know you're making a left. "Let the bloody dog see the bloody rabbit." "What dog? What rabbit?" So my brother just got out of the car in the middle of Don Mills Avenue. Just got out of this giant thoroughfare in Toronto.
That's hilarious.
I never knew what they're saying, but they had a famous accent, because Liverpool and the Beatles, their fame is famous, And so people would knock on the door and go, "Is Mike in?" Knowing I wasn't in. And my dad said, "Oh, no, he's kicking about with this other fella, actually." And they'd say, "All right, say it." And my dad would go, "I want to hold your hand." And they go, "Great, cool."
Oh, really?
Yeah. I think when your parents have an accent, you get better at accents.
For sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So, Mike, you didn't direct the Pentaverate, but do you see yourself after this experience, because you've created and you've, and you're in effect, I imagine, show running, and you know what it's like, and you did direct a documentary, but do you see, is the next step going to be for you to direct yourself in one of these comedies where you do something different, either playing lots of characters or bringing a new character that we've never seen before? Is that something that you're kind of working towards?
I might. I think that, when they say a lawyer defends himself, he is a fool for a client. You know what I mean? There's a little bit, I love it when somebody else agrees and adds, if you will, and something that you would never have thought of. And that's what my experience with Tim Kirkby is he had a big hand in shaping where the series went. You know what I mean? So I may have created it, but where it went, Tim Kirkby had a big hand in. And I also worked a little bit with Michael McCullers on it, who I was the co-writer of Austin Powers 2 and Austin Powers 3. And I love working with him. He's really funny and very, very smart. And I think I could direct myself. I think I could direct other things too, which I'd very much be interested in doing.
Stuff that you're not in.
Yeah, something I'm not in. I have when I go to the theater in New York, I get a stomachache before the show because I want the actors to have a good show. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I just went and saw Hamilton with my 10-year-old son, which was fantastic. But he's like, "Are you okay?" I go, I'm nervous. He goes, "You're not in the show." And I'm like, "I know, but I want them to have a good show." You know what I mean?
You're like, I hope this worldwide phenomenon is good.
Yes, I hope this much awarded, universally praised offering, has a good show.
Mike, are you good? Do you have any plans to make the great Canadian movie like the John A. MacDonald story or the Diefenbaker or
The Tim Horton story.
I did think about playing Trudeau, the senior, Pierre Elliott Trudeau, because I think I could actually do it, to be honest.
I don't doubt it.
But there is a Canadian movie I'd like to do. I want because there is a movement in Canada right now, which my friend Dave McKenzie, who's a comedy writer up in Canada, calls Cinema Bleak, where it's the children are killed in a bus that goes into the ice breaks, the school bus goes in, most of the kids die. It's very, very. Canada can run quite morbid. Every story is, did you hear about that guy? He died, eh? In Canada. Yeah, he died. In front of his kids, eh? Yeah, he died. And then the kids died, eh? In front of different kids. Yeah. Every story I get from my friends in Canada.
Horrible.
It's true.
Yeah.
Mike, do you remember for a while there, Don Cherry on Coach's Corner would be like, okay, we had a hell of a period between the Leafs and the Capitals here. And Don would go, we did. But first we're going to go, 12 people died. They fell off a cliff into a lake this morning.
Yeah.
And let's put these, and then he'd start crying. And then they'd go to commercial.
Put these beautiful Canadians up there.
Yeah. And you're like, fuck, man, I know I read that too, but what the hell is going on?
I know, on Coach's Corner. And you're sitting there going, I'd like to know what the latest trades are. They just changed the rule. I'd love to know what Don Cherry has to say about the new rule change. Goalies should be able to go behind the net and play the puck, right? Yeah. But first, I want to go to Kamloops. 4 kids died of a disease that doesn't even have a name.
A dad in Timmins walked out into the woods and he never came back, eh?
Never came back. But he did come back eventually, but he was changed in an indecipherable way.
Well, Mike, we've taken up too much of your time, man. I'm so excited for your show. Honestly,
Thank you.
I'm so
can't
psyched
wait.
you're back and you're just doing tons of characters. That's so exciting. And
Thank you, guys.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Can I just say what a lovely experience this has been? You've been most complimentary.
Oh, pal.
It's
And
easy.
thank
We
you.
could do this for
Very
3
kind.
more hours.
I don't even know what to say.
well, you're a mega talent. You're a great Canadian. You've been an inspiration to me for a long time.
Likewise.
And thank you for taking the time to join us, man. We just
Not at all. Thank you, guys. That was
Thank
fun.
you,
Thanks,
Mike.
Mike Myers.
cheers. Bye, Mike.
See you, buddy.
See you later.
Bye.
Bye-bye now.
Bye.
See you.
That man is quite a treasure. Treasure to 2 countries, not
He
just
really is.
one.
You're right. He's
Yep.
a treasure to 2 countries. And
He was such a big influence on me. That was, I mean,
same.
when I watched Saturday Night Live all the time, it was like, my God, there's, I think, Will, you said a few episodes ago where we were talking about Saturday Night Live, or maybe somebody was on from there, and how they don't really do as many character stuff, And
Yeah.
he was one of the great last ones to really just like roll out character after character after character, and they were
the
all
range.
so different.
Oh, we didn't even get into the coffee talk.
Yeah, right,
And
right.
Simon, the kid who was in, well, you know, my name is Simon. Look, mommy,
Simon.
I'm drawing.
Oh my God, I
Remember?
remember
Yeah.
that. That's so crazy.
And
Well,
Peter,
there's a few. I mean, obviously,
And I like
everyone
to tell stories.
Yeah, everyone that goes through there is so incredibly talented, but there are just a few that
burn bright.
were able to, but had the range to just nail so many different kinds of funny, so many
Yeah,
different kinds of characters. And they could play a character of another gender even, and just like go. It was really inspirational to the point where it's depressing when they leave that environment because no other place will allow you to do all those different things in an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Now it sounds like his 7 characters with this thing on Netflix coming up is something that kind of checks that box. Thank God. But I've missed that with
Yeah,
him.
you miss it so much.
Yeah, he must have like an insatiable drive for these characters and doing I mean, you think about it, it comes on, does Wayne's World, huge hit. Then they make the movie. He's still on the show. They make the second one. He makes So I Married an Axe Murderer, still on the show. Then he leaves. Then he does 3 Austin Powers movies. He does all this stuff. Like he just keeps it going. And now he's doing 7 characters. And it feels like he has this engine for characters that he probably doesn't even know how to where the on switch is or where the off switch
There's
is.
no one else like him as far as
No.
numbers of characters and output and success, I would say, right?
Sean, how's your thinking about a buy going? Because I see your head. I see the wheels. I can actually see a little bit of smoke coming out from underneath the headphones.
mean?
The headphones, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm,
Oh, no,
yeah,
it's
and
coming
the
from
fake
your fake
cigarette.
smoke.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there we go.
What are you talking
Yeah.
about?
Yeah, well, the important thing is with a cigarette, because the filter is so important that you just you just put it in your lips and gently do not bite.
Bite it. Bite.
Bite it.
SmartLess.
SmartLess is 100% organic and artisanally handcrafted by Bennett Barbaco, Michael Grant Terry, and Rob Armjarf.
SmartLess.
Our next episode will be out in a week wherever you listen to podcasts, or you can listen to it right now early on Amazon Music, or early and ad-free by subscribing to Wondery Plus in Apple Podcasts or the Wondery app.